right. Also crazy to withdraw hepatitis B vaccines from babies.
Yeah, extraordinary. And you know what has begun here, and what RFK Jr. is doing, is dismantling, essentially the foundation of modern health.
Mm-hmm. With no scientific logic whatsoever.
Obviously with no scientific. I mean, we know where the science is. We know where the we know what advances modern medicine has produced. We know that our children are safe and protected because of this. And so we are removing this. Why? And there are a couple of reasons. And they all mostly go to RFK himself. Although understanding that there is a strange anti-science movement in this country, which has intersected with a lot of politics. Okay, put that to its side. That exists. And there are a lot of bad politics that exists. And if you go down that route, well, we hope that there are. It's like with the military. You don't want to go down the route of extremes. So suddenly we have a guy who is with enormous power, who is committed to extremes. And I think a question is, what's going on here? How did this come to happen? And it came to happen because his name is Kennedy. He is personally really crazy, off the beam. So it's a crazy person named Kennedy who also thinks that he can be president of the United States. Mm-hmm. And the way for him to be the president of the United States is to solidify this MAGA base, the anti-vax base, which for whatever reasons has become, and partly because of his efforts, has become a very pronounced, and I don't want to say powerful, because I'm not sure it is powerful except for RFK Jr., but certainly a pronounced strain in American political life. So
I've got so many questions about him. I mean, in terms of Hegseth, Joni Ernst was the sort of swing vote. Was she going to vote for Hegseth or not? She was very doubtful. And then for some reason that we're not sure about, she finally agreed to go with Hegseth, and J.D. Vance cast the deciding vote. Similarly, with RFK Jr., we have Bill Cassidy, the senator from Louisiana, who is a doctor who's spent his life trying to help liver patients, who also was very reluctant to confirm RFK Jr., but they met, and the Kennedy charm or whatever persuaded him that he should give him a chance.
I don't think that's correct. What they were persuaded of, what both Ernst and Cassidy were persuaded by, is essentially they were given a choice. You can have this career, you can stay in the Senate, or it is very likely you will not be able to stay in the Senate.
Right, you'll get primaried.
You just have a choice. You gotta make it. Do you want to go down on this? And I think in hindsight, they may both say now, yeah, we should have gone down on this. But without hindsight, you say, well, maybe it won't be so bad. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can rationalize this. But they had literally no choice. That was it. The interesting thing is, why would the Trump administration have gone to the mat for these guys?
Right.
But I think that's, as soon as I ask it, that's the wrong question, because as soon as they have put up these ridiculous figures, they had to defend them. Otherwise, it would be clear they were ridiculous figures that they had put up. Now, they are ridiculous figures, and we are reaping the results of these ridiculous figures.
So, Michael, what's going on inside Donald Trump's head when he hears that RFK Jr. is going to pull hepatitis B vaccines from babies? Trump, we know, has his kids vaccinated. He's crazy, but he's not that crazy.
No, but he has a profound lack of interest in things that don't interest him. And, he's not interested. Vaccines don't really come into his personal sphere of concern. Plus the fact that, he's got this guy. Why is Bobby Kennedy Jr. in this position? Because his name is Kennedy. So it has nothing to do with vaccines. So from Donald Trump's point of view, I have this Kennedy. And this is even more sort of complex because it's like I have this guy named Kennedy. I own the name Kennedy. At the same time, all the other Kennedys are saying what a horrible person I am. So fuck them because I have a Kennedy. And my Kennedy is now more powerful than all of the other Kennedys. So I can give this to you. This is exactly how Donald Trump thinks.
Oh, my goodness. It's just crazy.
And the fact that there are vaccines, that has an added benefit because these MAGA people are crazy on the subject and he has to keep them happy.
And to what extent is this also because Bobby Kennedy has been in the news because of his digital affair with Olivia Nuzzi, whose book we discussed, American Canto, is out this week? Do you think he's in any way trying to shift the narrative away from himself in that regard?
Well, I don't. This was all scheduled beforehand, so I'm not sure. But how he gets away with that? I guess you get away with it because it built into the understanding of this guy is that he's crazy. So a crazy man will do crazy things. Now, but we do have this other thing which will be interesting is that his wife Cheryl Hines's book is coming out shortly. So, in the way of scandals, scandals are really come about through a strange combustion. Will we have that combustion here? 2 memoirs by 2 Kennedy lovers, wives, whatever, at the same time. But again, I don't think so because it's baked in. It's Bobby Kennedy Jr., a drug addict, a womanizer, or, just a compulsive, over the top philanderer and fucker. This is all evidence. Everybody knows this. So therefore, it's not as if you're telling anyone anything new.
Right. One of the things that did sound interesting, either I read through Olivia's an interview she'd done, or perhaps it was in an excerpt of the book, was this sort of frenzy he had to, how does one put this? A sexual frenzy he had, a compulsion clearly to climax, and then immediately that had happened, this wash of Catholic guilt, which he then blamed on her and said, you made me do this. This is, you're a bad person. And that a very, very strange relationship with sex.
That's juicy.
It's also a sort of Catholic interpretation of sex that you want something and then the minute you've had it, you feel terrible about yourself. And he had this sort of weird remorse, which he then blamed on her, that she was the wicked woman who tried to seduce him. And he'd fallen and been weak.
Let me ask, this was digital sex?
I think it was FaceTime sex.
This was not in person.
My understanding of it is, and perhaps I even read this in Brian Liz's thing, the ex-fiancé of Olivia Nuzzi, who's got his own version of this bizarre story going on his Substack. Maybe that's where I read it, and he'd taken it from Olivia's diaries or whatever. But I mean, bizarre. And he used to refer to his sexual proclivities and activities, which he chronicled in a book, which actually I've seen a copy of the sex diary, as his muddings, and that he was sort of demonized by sex, which is something that you had pointed out when you were on the campaign trail with him, that he would disappear and have sex and then come back and join the crowd.
I mean, there's all kinds of ways I think you can take pity on this guy. I mean, this is a life which no one would want. The thing that we are, however, left with is that this clear sense that he has of unmet expectations, that he has to somehow deliver this thing, that he is being forced. It's like sex, probably. He's being forced into sex because of the compulsion. He's now being forced to be something. Something which he failed at or was denied for his entire life. Remember, Bobby Kennedy Jr. is 72 years old. Up until basically 2 years ago, he has achieved nothing in life, and certainly nothing against the expectations, but basically nothing anyway, And so with this weird conjunction of this anti-vax thing that he came to, the only thing that really ever got him attention, public attention, other than his own drug addiction, the confluence of that with Donald Trump in the summer of 2024 is the thing that just has now transformed him into one of the most powerful people in American lives today. So this is all, again, completely makes no sense. There is no logic here except caprice, happenstance, nothing. This is how we live now. You don't know what's going to happen. So, Mr. We'll see, we will see, because we cannot predict this. You could not possibly, in any imagination, have predicted the rise of Bobby Kennedy Jr. Ridiculous.